What happens when the tables turn on television's most predictable network? When the safe space becomes a battleground and the friendly fire turns real. Welcome back to the channel where we break down the wildest moments in celebrity and political news, and today we've got an absolute bombshell that nobody saw coming. Picture this scene: Don Jr. and Eric Trump, the former president's sons who've spent years basking in the warm glow of Fox News softball interviews, walking into what they thought would be another easy morning chat. Coffee in hand, smiles plastered on their faces, ready to deliver their usual talking points about their father's greatness and the media's unfairness. But what happened next left viewers nationwide picking their jaws up off the floor and social media absolutely exploding. A Fox News host? Yes, you heard that right. A Fox News host actually ambushed the Trump brothers with real questions. Hard-hitting inquiries that had them squirming in their seats like kids caught with their hands in the cookie jar. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because this is the kind of jaw-dropping content we live for. And trust me, you're going to want to hear every single detail of how this train wreck unfolded in real time. The morning started like any other at Fox News headquarters in Manhattan. The makeup artists were doing their thing. The cameras were being adjusted. And Don Jr. and Eric were probably running through their usual pre-interview ritual of high-fiving each other and rehearsing their go-to phrases about witch hunts and fake news. They'd done this dance 100 times before on Fox, where hosts typically lob them questions softer than a marshmallow pillow. But something was different in the air that morning, something the brothers couldn't quite put their finger on. The host, let's call them the unexpected hero of journalistic integrity, had apparently woken up and chosen violence, metaphorically speaking, of course. As the red recording light flickered on and millions of viewers tuned in, expecting the usual Trump family propaganda hour, what they got instead was pure, unfiltered television gold. The interview started innocently enough with the usual pleasantries and a brief discussion about the weather, because apparently even ambushes need a warm-up act. But then, like a skilled hunter stalking their prey, the host pivoted with the precision of an Olympic gymnast. So, gentlemen, they began, their voice taking on a tone that should have set off every alarm bell in the Trump brothers' heads. Let's talk about your father's legal troubles and specifically your roles in the family business during those questionable years. You could practically hear the record scratch moment as Don Jr.'s perpetual smirk faltered for just a second. Eric's eyes widened like a deer caught in the headlights of an 18-wheeler barreling down the highway. This wasn't in the script. This wasn't how Fox News interviews were supposed to go. And suddenly, the comfortable bubble they'd lived in for years was bursting in high definition for all of America to witness. Don Jr., always the more aggressive of the two brothers, tried to deflect with his usual bravado, launching into a well-rehearsed spiel about persecution and political vendettas. But the host wasn't having it, cutting him off mid-sentence with a follow-up question that was sharper than a Japanese chef's knife. But Don, these aren't political accusations. These are documented financial records showing millions of dollars in questionable transactions. Can you explain those specific numbers? The camera caught it all in glorious detail as Don Jr.'s face went through more color changes than a mood ring at a therapy session. He stammered, he stuttered, he tried to pivot back to his talking points. But the host kept pressing, armed with facts, figures, and a determination that would have made Edward R. Murrow proud. Meanwhile, Eric sat there looking like he'd rather be anywhere else on planet Earth, maybe even Mars, if Elon Musk could arrange a quick escape shuttle. You could see the wheels turning in his head as he desperately tried to remember the media training his father had probably paid top dollar for. But nothing in those sessions had prepared him for friendly fire from Fox News, of all places. When the host turned their attention to him, asking about his knowledge of inflated property values and tax schemes, Eric's response was so fumbling and incoherent that even the teleprompter operator probably felt secondhand embarrassment. Well, business is business, and we've always done tremendous business. The best business, really, he managed to squeak out, sounding more like a malfunctioning chatbot than an executive of a multi-billion-dollar organization. The beauty of live television is that there's nowhere to hide, no delete button, no chance for a do-over. Every awkward pause, every bead of sweat, every desperate glance between the brothers was captured for posterity. Social media lit up like Times Square on New Year's Eve, with clips of the interview going viral faster than you can say nepotism. Twitter was having a field day, with memes sprouting up like mushrooms after rain. Someone brilliantly captioned a screenshot of Eric's panicked face with "when you realize Fox News isn't your safe space anymore." And it racked up hundreds of thousands of likes within hours. The comment sections were pure comedy gold, with viewers from across the political spectrum united in their amazement at witnessing what many called the interview equivalent of a UFC knockout. But the host wasn't done yet. Oh no, they were just getting warmed up. Like a prosecutor who smells blood in the water, they pressed on with questions about the January 6 committee findings, about text messages that had been made public about the family's ongoing legal battles. Each question was like another jab in a boxing match, and the Trump brothers were clearly on the ropes with no cornerman to throw in the towel. Don Jr. tried his father's favorite tactic of attacking the media, but it rang hollow when the media in question was Fox News, the network that had been their personal cheerleading squad for years. Are you really going to sit there and claim Fox News is part of the liberal media conspiracy? The host asked with just the right amount of incredulity in their voice. The silence that followed was so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. Eric attempted to salvage the situation by bringing up Hunter Biden. Because when in doubt, whataboutism is the Trump family's emergency parachute. But even this tired deflection was met with a masterful counter from the host, who simply said, "We're not here to talk about Hunter Biden. We're here to talk about you and your brother's potential criminal exposure. Can you answer the question?" It was like watching someone try to play tennis with a spaghetti noodle against Serena Williams. The mismatch was so obvious, so brutal. Even some Fox News regular viewers started commenting on the network's own social media pages, expressing shock at seeing actual journalism taking place on their screens. As the interview dragged on, what started as confidence from the Trump brothers morphed into visible desperation. Don Jr.'s usually slick back hair began to look disheveled as he ran his hands through it repeatedly, a nervous tic that body language experts would later have a field day analyzing. Eric's complexion had gone from his usual spray tan orange to a pale shade that makeup artists probably don't even have a name for. They tried everything in their playbook: deflection, denial, attacking the premise of the questions, even attempting to charm their way out with awkward jokes that landed with the grace of a piano falling from a 10th floor window. But nothing worked because the host had come prepared with receipts, and not just any receipts, but the kind of documentation that lawyers have nightmares about. The most devastating moment came when the host pulled out a tablet and showed a specific document on screen, asking the brothers to explain a particular transaction that seemed to directly contradict their previous public statements. The camera zoomed in on their faces at just the right moment, capturing what can only be described as the visual representation of the phrase, "oh shit." Don Jr. actually asked if they could take a commercial break, a request that was denied with a polite but firm, "We still have several minutes left in this segment." It was like watching someone realize they'd brought a knife to a gunfight, except the knife was made of rubber and the gun was loaded with facts. What made this ambush particularly delicious for viewers was the poetic justice of it all. For years, the Trump family had used Fox News as their personal megaphone, a place where they could spout whatever narrative they wanted without fear of fact-checking or follow-up questions. They'd grown comfortable, complacent even, treating these appearances like victory laps rather than actual interviews. So to see them suddenly faced with real journalism on their home turf was like watching the school bully get detention from their favorite teacher. The irony was so thick you could spread it on toast. And America was eating it up with a spoon as the interview mercifully came to an end for the brothers. You could see the relief wash over their faces like a cool breeze. On a hot day, but the damage was done. The clips were already circulating. And the internet was doing what the internet does best, turning a moment of public humiliation into eternal entertainment. The host wrapped up with a professional smile and a subtle dig, saying, "Thank you both for attempting to answer our questions today," with emphasis on the word attempting. That was chef's kiss perfect. Don Jr. and Eric mumbled their thanks, probably already calculating how fast they could get to the parking garage and into their separate cars to call their father and explain how his favorite news network had suddenly grown a spine. The aftermath of this interview was like watching ripples spread across a pond after someone chucked a boulder into it. Political commentators who usually ignored Fox News were suddenly praising the network for showing journalistic integrity. Other Fox hosts were probably having emergency meetings about whether this was a new direction for the network or just one rogue journalist who'd forgotten which team they were supposed to be playing for. The Trump brothers' PR team was undoubtedly in crisis mode, trying to figure out how to spin this disaster into something resembling a win. But even the best spin doctors couldn't perform surgery on this patient because it was already on the operating table within hours. The interview had become the #1 trending topic across all social media platforms. Late-night comedians were already writing material, salivating at the gift they'd been handed on a silver platter. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and Trevor Noah probably had to arm wrestle to decide who got to use the best clips first. Saturday, Night Live writers were furiously scribbling sketches that would practically write themselves. The memes kept coming, each one more hilarious than the last, with creative souls putting the brothers' panicked faces on everything from the Titanic as it hit the iceberg to the surprised Pikachu face that never gets old. But beyond the entertainment value, this moment represented something bigger in the media landscape. It showed that even in our hyperpolarized world, sometimes journalists remember what their job actually is, regardless of which network signs their paychecks. It demonstrated that no one should be above tough questions, especially when those people have been adjacent to power and potentially involved in serious legal matters. The fact that it happened on Fox News, of all places, made it even more significant. Like finding out your strict teacher actually has a sense of humor, or discovering that your cat actually does care about you. For Don Jr. and Eric's disinterview will likely go down as one of those moments they'll replay in their heads at 3 a.m. for years to come, cringing at every fumbled answer and wishing they could go back in time with better prepared responses. But time machines don't exist, and the internet is forever, meaning their spectacular implosion will be available for viewing. Pleasure whenever anyone needs a good laugh or a reminder that even the mighty can fall when faced with something they never expected. Actual questions requiring actual answers. As we wrap up this incredible story, I want you to think about what you just witnessed. This wasn't just about two privileged sons getting roasted on live television, though that was certainly entertaining. This was about accountability, about the power of journalism when it's done right, and about the importance of being prepared for tough questions no matter who you are or what your last name might be. If this video gave you as much joy as it gave me to break it down for you, smash that like button like it owes you money. Share it with your friends who need a good laugh, or anyone who still believes that Fox News never asks tough questions. Drop a comment below with your favorite moment from the interview or which meme made you laugh the hardest. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because if this taught us anything, it's that you never know when the next shocking moment in media is going to drop. And you definitely don't want to miss it when we cover it here. Until next time, keep watching, keep laughing, and remember that sometimes the best entertainment comes from the most unexpected places. Peace out, everyone.